FBI gives over thousands of names to Trump. Couldn't hold out forever. The FBI purge. It's real, it's happening, and it's totally unnecessary. The FBI was already full of conservatives. Right, CNN. I forgot. I'm sorry, but I don't quite understand what makes you guys think it's a false flag. You misheard and you should pay better attention. I never said it's a false flag. I said other people are going to call it a false flag. This might just radicalize the remaining ones against the Trumpist law. I feel like it's really bad right now to express literally any optimism because the past few months have not been kind to optimistic interpretations of the future. Like the tea leaves have not been giving good signals. However, I do believe, in spite of everything, that the people running this coup, deeply incompetent, and not just in a like, you're going to have microplastics in your food kind of way, but in a like, they're going to break everything for everyone, including themselves kind of way. And I do think there is a real possibility this backfires. First of all, how the do you replace thousands of FBI agents? Like, just do you like this isn't even a matter of like security clearances. There is just a baseline level of competency that you need in order to work any kind of federal system. You know, you're basically permanently crippling the department. And any of the remaining FBI agents, the ones who stay, the ones who stick around, are probably going to feel pretty goddamn resentful because a lot of their buddies got fired for literally no reason. They were conservatives. They got fired because they were assigned to the Jan 6 cases, to the Mar-a-Lago case, to whatever else. They're probably going to use this as a threat and fire only a small amount. Yeah, but like, unlike immigrants, you know, FBI agents have power. So if a lot of them harbor resentments, I don't know. The FBI has an enormous hiring backlog. They can't find anyone that meets their hiring requirements. Yeah, you have to meet like a pretty stringent set of requirements to be an FBI agent. A lot of them being moral ones and not positive moral ones at that. Have they gone after Fauci yet? They revoked his security clearances. Several FBI employees on Tuesday sued the Justice Department. Oh, that just happened today. Okay. Accusing it of violating the Constitution and privacy laws by demanding the agents complete a survey allegedly designed to purge bureau personnel. The agents want a federal judge to block the Trump administration from publishing or releasing the surveys or any information including the answers. I mean, we'll see. Oh, that's not legal. I mean, none of this is legal, obviously. But like, who cares, right? Move fast and break things. It's like, again, I know I keep going back to this comparison, but with the Nazis, like the Nazis broke Weimar laws in the establishment of their own order, but they moved a lot slower. Like when the Nazis took over, Hitler became chancellor or whatever, they worked like legislatively to build like the foundations of their, you know, genocidal Reich, right? It wasn't like day one, you know, infinite retribution against everyone. The Nazis were competent yet. No. The Nazis were not competent at all. And any serious historical investigation of what they did and how they did it reveals that fact. They genuinely were not. But they did move a lot slower than this, at least in the beginning. And there's a reason for that. You just make a lot of unnecessary enemies, you know? The Nazi book burning literally happened the same year Hitler was appointed. Yeah? And? For one, book burnings happened continuously, and they had happened prior to that point. A book burning isn't like the same as a... Like, that's just a thing that can happen. Also, that's within 1 year. We're 2 weeks out from the start of this administration. Also, pretty big difference between targeting an extremely niche like Sex and Gender Institute and their research versus firing a third of your federal police force for no reason. No reflexive contrarianism. But if you're fast enough, no one will be able to react properly. Yeah, but you also make a lot of unnecessary enemies. And there has to be a consequence to that. At least I'd like to believe so. Wouldn't this hurt Trump as well in the long run? Are you listening to me? What do you think their actual plan is like 2 years into the presidency? I don't know if they have a plan for 2 years into the presidency. I just don't know. Vosh, remember in Europe we had many fascist dictatorships for decades that only fell because of war after 30 plus years? Yeah, but it's different now. We live in a globalized economy and all Americans are treatlers who want their tasty treats from China. People aren't willing to endure the kind of state repression, the austerity, the economic blowback, the cultural backlash, the way people used to. In the 1920s, 1930s, in a European country, 99% of your economy was domestic. The only people you ever met were from your village. Maybe you go into a big city from time to time and admire the big brick factories with their looms on the inside or whatever. Like, you only knew your own people. Tribalism was a lot easier. Nowadays, you mother... Everyone's connected. Everyone's seeing smartphone videos of everything. Everybody's entitled. You people are spoiled with your goddamn burrito taxis. And even American conservatism is framed in libertarian context, you know? It's not like the average Republican would be happy if police, like, randomly searched their car. You know that, right? Like, I'm pretty sure that in Germany in 1936, if there was a Gestapo agent who was like, we would like to search your coach, your horse and buggy, in case you are hiding enemies of the state. I feel like a lot of people would be like, finally, somebody's doing something about those enemies of the state. Whereas if you had your average, like, Midwestern MAGA hat wearing, you know, Trump guy get stopped by the police to ask, like, to search his vehicle, he would flip the fuck out. Like, Americans are value, I don't want to say they value their freedom because that makes America sound cool, and it's not. Americans value, like, being individuals who don't believe in society. Americans don't believe in society. Americans don't want to make any personal sacrifice whatsoever, even if they perceive it as being beneficial to society. They don't care because we're entitled, fat, spoiled, lazy, stupid, and ugly. So as a I'm sorry, I shouldn't say we. I'm great. They. Hyper-individualism might actually work to our benefit, at least slightly here. Isn't that mainly the case for white people, though? Yeah, which in this case is a good thing. Atomization makes fascism easier, not harder. You have to listen to the words that I say. You can't just say a thing you already know as though it debunks what I've said. You have to engage with the actual substance of what I've said. Atomization makes fascist radicalization easier. This kind of atomization might make people less willing to endure the hardship that comes with a truly fascist state. You have to listen. You have to, we can't keep doing this, guys. You choose to type in. It's not like I'm going up to the people in VGG and hitting their desk with a ruler when they're napping and asking them what the last thing I said was. You choose to type, thus drawing attention to your level of engagement with the content. I feel like you would if I could. Yeah, I would, but I can't. I bet they haven't even liked the stream on YouTube. I already did. I don't believe you. Perhaps the most passionate response has been from James Dennehy, the top leader of the FBI's New York field office. That's a pretty important position. Who told his staff he's prepared to dig in to defend them. CNN obtained a copy of Dennehy's email, which reads in part, I still remember the first time I dug a foxhole back in the Marines back in 1993. Jesus Christ. I had nothing more than an e-tool that I carried around everywhere, which was a mini shovel. I dug with that damn thing all day long to build myself a 2-foot by 2-foot hole in the hard ground about 5 feet deep. It sucked, but it worked. That foxhole provided me with the protection I needed for the battle that was to come. Where were you? In 1993? Okay. And when the bullets flew, it was worth the effort. Desert Storm? Were people digging... Pardon my complete unfamiliarity with military tactics circa 93. In Desert Storm, were people digging foxholes? My understanding was that we blitzed the Iraqi army so quickly that there would been no... We weren't taking stationary positions. Soldiers always dig? I guess that's true. If you leave soldiers alone for long enough and they have shovels, they'll just dig. Soldiers always have to entrench? I mean, that's not always true. I know that's not always true, but okay. Whatever. He was in that hole for the entire duration of the war. Yeah, what he's not telling you is that his hole digging had nothing to do with the military operation at the time. They just overwhelmed the Iraqi army. He was just digging holes. He was just chilling at base. The bullets were flying like 18 miles west, okay? He was just going down. It was literally a show of force. Yeah, it was based. Don't invade Kuwait next time, dipshit. Skill issue. How many times have I invaded Kuwait? 0. How many times have I had my entire military crippled into nothing in like a day? 0. Today we find ourselves in the middle of a battle of our own, as good people are being walked out of the FBI and others are being targeted because they did their jobs in accordance with the law and FBI policy. On a day like today, I find myself searching for my old e-tool, ready to put in the sweat and effort to dig that foxhole, as I have that feeling that I need to do right by this office. Well, I'm glad he's being cringe in support of resisting some elements of fascist incursion into, we'll say, already a pretty problematic branch of the federal government. I will support each and every one of you with whatever personal decision you make, but I'm sticking around to defend you, your work, your families, and this team we call the flagship. Time for me to dig in. That's great, man. Well, good luck. Thousands of holes now appear outside FBI HQ. They're digging in. If Desert Storm was so effective, how come Saddam was still there 10 years later? Because they didn't send me in with Desert Storm. Not to say nothing specific, but if I had been part of Desert Storm, Saddam would not have been around to cause 9/11. He would not have been flying the planes into the World Trade Center. You talk a big game, but Saddam is the best hole digger ever. Well, that's why they didn't get him the first time.